Hello, today we're going to start off with the introduction to the Inventor program. First thing we want to look at here is the area called Part and the area called Assembly. It's important to know that these are two of the most important parts of the program. This area allows you to build individual things, and this area allows you to put those individual things together to make a machine. So for instance, you would make the pedals and the wheels and the chain and the frame, etc. of a bike in the part area. Each one would be an individual part. You could take those parts then later and assemble them individually into the bicycle. Okay, so that's where this happens. We're only going to mess around with the part area for now. So we're going to click once in part. While this is opening up, you just have to be patient. Alright, now here's our work area. Now, we have to start our drawing somewhere. And there's a concept that you need to understand that has to do with drawing shapes like circles, squares, and triangles, or any shape that you can imagine. But that shape must have what we call a closed loop. Okay? So I'm going to do a demonstration on some of that here in a second. But to start a drawing, we need to actually grab the pencil. And this button up here, the Start 2D Sketch button, is a very important button. Excuse me, it's used over and over again anytime you need to draw something, and we're going to do a lot of drawing. So we're going to click on that pencil one time. Okay, just so you know, there is a drop-down box which has the options for 2D and 3D. Make sure to just choose 2D if you drop the option box down. Okay, what appears on the screen now is essentially three planes. Okay, think of a plane like a piece of glass. I've got a piece of glass kind of for the floor. Here's one could be considered a wall, and another one that would be like another wall. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, but I want all of us to always choose the flat during our demonstrations. So let's click anywhere on this corner or on this flat bottom piece. Okay? Okay, now imagine that I'm actually drawing on that piece of glass. Notice that my tool bar across here has drawing tools in it in this area. We're going to start with the line tool. Very simple. Click the line tool, and again there is a drop-down menu, and I only want you to choose the simple line. When you bring your cursor out on the screen, you'll have the option to create a line. Now, in my program, we don't click and drag. We click and then pull the line. So I'm going to demonstrate that by clicking once here, not holding the mouse button down, but just moving the mouse. Now what I have here is a line that started where I clicked, and the line will become as long as I drag it, and it will point in the direction I pointed. But notice there are also two boxes. One says 1.536 at the moment, inches, and the other says 105.14 degrees. And you'll notice those numbers change as I move my line. Now, in order to make a line a length that you're interested in, you would either pull it, let's say, pull it to the number you want, and then click, and you've made a line that long. Okay. The other thing we could do, and I'm going to hit Escape key and then go back one step. The undo key here is going to be really handy for you. It undoes whatever you've done last. I'm going to click it one time. I'm going to choose my line tool again and show you another thing. So I'm going to click again to start. I'm going to drag this out. And notice that the box in inches is in blue. So that means if I type any number now, that line will automatically become that number. So right now I'm just going to hit the 2 key. Notice that it actually overrode the number in inches, and if I hit enter, I now made a 2-inch line pointing in the direction I had pointed it. Okay? I'm still attached to the end. I'm going to hit escape and go back one step and do another line. I'm going to choose line again this time. Now this time when I click and point, I'm going to change the length to 2, which the box is blue, right, with the inches, so I'm going to hit 2. Now how do I get to the degree box, which is kind of floating up by that, up at the top? You're going to use the tab key. It's in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to click tab, And notice I go to the degree key. I hit tab again, I go back to inch. Let's go to degrees, and it's 113 something degrees. I'm going to just say 115. And when I hit enter, I now have created a line that is an angle of 115, and it's 2 inches long. Okay, you can see my 115 degree angle. To finish up, I'm just going to basically do this by hand, and I'm going to go, and just for fun, I'll click out here, here, click here, click here, click here. Let's make an interesting looking shape. Now here's a very important step. You must take and reconnect to close the loop of your shape, because if I click here, all that is a jagged line. It is not a shape yet. Okay, it's very important to know that. Shapes must be closed. So if you bring your mouse over, you also notice that it turns green. Okay, the green dot will help you to grab the end of other lines. It'll also grab the middle, and it'll grab intersections. So it's a handy tool. I'm going to click now. Now that I've clicked, the computer knows that I actually have a shape there. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next stage, which is take that shape and extrude it into a 3D shape. So you're going to have to take your mouse and go up to the Finish Sketch button. Finishing sketches leaves the world of 2D and you enter the world of 3D. You notice how it's hard to see this here? I'm going to use my mouse and bring it up to this cube and click on the house. That is called the home view. It gives me basically a perfect view of whatever's on the screen. It's a very handy thing. Now I have a whole new set of tools. These tools are for 3D. What we're going to do is we're today only going to use this extrude tool. Now the extrude tool kind of acts like when you squeeze your toothpaste out of the toothpaste tube, it comes out of a round hole. That hole then of course extrudes out toothpaste in the same shape. If that hole was in the shape of a star or a triangle, the toothpaste would come out in that shape. So that's what they mean by extrude. So imagine my shape and imagine it now being extruded. It'll make a lot more sense when you click the button. Now notice what it's done. It's grabbed the shape and it's trying to extrude it. Okay? The box that showed up here for you will probably be closed like this. This is a shortcut version of what lives in here. Drop the arrow down. I want us to work within this area because I'll always demonstrate by using this. Now, what I know now is if you see this number here under the word distance, that's telling me how far my object is growing up. So if I change that number to, let's say, 2, it got larger. Okay. Notice my object is off the screen. The wheel on your mouse allows you to roll back and forth to zoom. The wheel on your mouse also allows you to, if you push it down the wheel like a button, the cursor turns into a hand, and that lets you do what we call pan. And a pan is sliding something kind of in a flat way around the screen. So between zoom and pan, you should be able to center your object pretty easy. But let's say something happens like you zoom so far up the object is beyond you. It's still there, okay? Just go to your cube, click your home view to get back to the perfect view, okay? Alright, so there's my shape. Now, being able to rotate the shape is going to be really important. I learned how to zoom. I learned how to pan. And I learned how to use my home view if something is looking like I want to get a better view of it. But what about if I want to look at the back side of this object? What I want to have you do now is go to your cube and click on the cube and drag the cube, and you'll be able to drag this object any way you want, almost like you're holding it in your own hands. Okay? So you should always be able to see any of the sides that you're interested in. Click the home view to get back to the original best view. Okay? Okay, let's back up, and I'm going to review what we did. The back arrow is your friend. First thing we do is we create a new part. We start a pencil sketch, and we always choose the flat piece of glass to start. I'm going to use my line tool. I can click and start my line. I could use the tab key and go between the inch and the degree box and change it to exactly what I would like. Or in this case, I will just for fun just draw without caring what numbers they are and just reconnect, of course, my line to here. Now that would be a finished shape. Let me show you though that this would not work because that little piece is going to be a problem. It does not see that as a shape, that's only a line. So to get rid of extra stuff, you can use your trim tool and cut it off. Okay. Trim tool will cut anything back to the next line, okay, or in between two lines. It's a handy tool. That looks like a closed loop to me. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to choose my extrude option. I can use my pan to center and my zoom to get the correct size. If I wanted this to be half the size from 1, I can make it 0.5 and it's become half the size. Okay. Click OK. You can use the cube to drag it around and check it out, and always go to home to center it back up. Okay, that's a pretty good example of how to make a basic shape, closing your loop, and using the extrude tool.